Well, hello everybody once again. You know who it is. JJ with you on JJPB with Mr. Machine on the microphone. He can say hello. Mr. Machine.
Yes.
You want to tell everybody hello? You're here.
Hello.
See, you say hello. So, Machine, what do you think about this new driver update from Nvidia? Is it worth the price or should everybody wait?
I haven't noticed any difference.
I know, and I got it downloaded too. I haven't tested it fully yet. Maybe we'll run a little bit of Cyberpunk, but I want to talk about first what they have on their driver page for NVIDIA so we can see what they got cooking on that. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go flip to the action screen and we're going to have a look and see what they got. This says the new game ready driver that the best gaming experience in the world. No, they didn't say that, but for the latest new games supporting DLSS 4 technology, including Crimson Desert and Death Stranding 2 on the beach. So the fixed gaming bugs were Crimson Desert game crashes when launched on RS9S or a 9.5 driver, whatever. But Resident Evil, the new one, white glowing light dots may appear in game when subsurface scattering is enabled. Star Citizen, the game client crashes when launched. That's nothing new. General bug fixes were when the graphic card is overclocked, the GPU voltage may become capped. That's a big problem because I know everybody's going to lose their mind about this. When the graphics card is overclocked, the GPU voltage may become capped, preventing it from boosting to expected levels. Why are they? I mean, that's everybody's decision if they want to move up the power scale. You can do it on MSI Afterburner, so now it's capped on MSI Afterburner with this driver. Oh man, we're definitely gonna have to test this to see if it's capped when I put it up to overclock levels.
Yeah.
And last but not least, it says intermittent application crash or driver's timeout may be observed when playing multi-key DRM content in a browser on HDCP 1X monitors. Oh, that's not good. So basically, with me having a 4K monitor here and having a 1080p monitor there, so applications might crash because what's happening is they're flickering back and forth between two monitors, and the application's going to crash over that fact. So, getting back to, I forgot to do, man. I always forget to do this. I always forget to, turn that off before we go back to the main screen. But all in all, what concerns me the most is the graphics card overclock. GPU voltage may become capped. That's not fair to the people that have been playing it on was it 581.86 drivers? Some tells me people are going to go back to those drivers or earlier in order to not worry about that capping. Or it could be that if you put the software in, it could be an embedded code that is a permanent code. That could happen too. I've seen companies do that where they say, well, this is a restriction for you. We're going to embed this code, and that's basically what might happen is they might have embedded the code, bro. But you know what a good way to find out is? To just test it. So I'm going to go ahead and set up Steam. And I'm going to see if we have any sorts of drama. That's what I'm going to be looking for. Let me make sure there's no downloads going to happen. How big is this download? It doesn't say anymore. Well, this will put stress on the internet. So we'll see what kind of stress we're going to get. Oh, it's 9.9 gigabytes. So I guess everybody's going to have to wait until the 9.9 gigabytes gets done downloading. But, you know, the thing is, too, if that's the case with this driver update, there's gonna be some people that are not gonna be happy with Nvidia there, bro. They're not gonna be happy at all. Oh, I'm gonna have to pause this. It's gonna be 41 minutes. We'll just go to library, we'll pause that and go to library. I'll get this all set up really quick. Especially when people are hearing about the Steam machine, you know. I'm not going to knock Valve, but they should have did a little bit more homework on when it comes to the Steam box. I really think they should have done a lot more homework. It would have been better if they would have said, okay, we're going to put a ball busting system out there for everybody to run off of Steam, and then all games would work off of Steam like they would, you know, like your PC, but we're going to cut you a deal and tell you the price. I mean, they didn't do that. Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. Uh, oh. Okay, that's better. You know, the best thing I can do is lock this in the 1080p because I got to put this on my other monitor. Hello there, Mr. Ear. However you say that. Mr. Yas, sir. Good to see you. Welcome to the channel. Sorry, my peepers, I got to look a little bit closer at the screen. So, yeah, I got those peepers and everything. Now we can go to the action screen, I think. Well, in a minute. Yeah. We'll go back on the action screen. And we'll pull up Cyberpunk. Oh, actually, no. Can't pull up Cyberpunk again. Because I got something at the top of the screen I have to remove. There we go. That's better. That's better. Okay. So now we can do it again. Okay. So for all you guys that just got here, what we're doing is we're with the new drivers 595 what machine? I forgot what it was again.
0.79.
No, the drivers for Nvidia.
Yeah, 595.79.
Oh, 595 dot what?
Yeah, 79.
79. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead. Here we go again. You know what I forgot? I just did a driver update and I forgot all about the Nvidia kind of thing. Yeah. I forgot about that. Got to go to the graphics, got to go to the global settings. See, because it resets everything back to 0. And it's crazy why it does that all the time. And I'm showing you guys as I'm going through this why I set this up the way I do. So, okay, let's see. It's the wrong one. I'm going to go back to K and apply this. That means I got to start Cyberpunk all over again. The reason why is because I got the benchmark already on YouTube for preset K, and I'm going to run it the same way. So now I got to start Cyberpunk all over again. In order for me to have a consistent test, I have to make sure it's on the right settings. You know what I mean, bro? In order for me to have it consistent. So I'm making sure I go through this very carefully. I mean, I like the way my system looks inside. It's got everything's pretty much blacked out, but the only things that RGB you got in there is the fans. You know what I mean? It makes it look mystery. It's like a mystery kind of system. Let's go into the settings. Let's go to video. Make sure we're at 1080p. This is a 1080p monitor, guys. This monitor here is 1080p. So I'm not on the 4K monitor because I'm running the live stream on the 4K. But this will actually put a little bit of stress on the system. So let's see. We tested at ultra performance. We did not have frame generation on. So now I got to go through the settings. Got high there. High. This was on. This was at 1. Okay, so that was high. That was high. High, high. Okay, now I'll go through all my settings to make sure they're exactly the same to see if there's any difference. No frame generation, ultra performance, transformer model. Now I'm going to have to start it all over again. Because I had to turn off frame generation. So it's well worth the restart. So just be patient, guys. We'll get through the restarts. Okay. You know, I might switch the monitors and make the 4K one the secondary. I've been thinking about that. You know. So. Okay, so now I got to go back through the graphics to make sure that it's set just the way I set it. Because, you know, that was acting freaky. Okay. So we are good. Run the benchmark. Confirm. Oh. Yeah, it would have been better if I would have ran it at 1440p, though. But still, it doesn't look like the FPS has changed any. So this is just an off the wall test for everybody. Okay, so 140 over 90. Let's see. Let's leave that up there for a moment. Let me see if I can find it. Give me a moment. Let's see. Okay, preset K. Okay, so from when I'm looking back at my video, okay, this is the video that I did on preset K. This is 145.89. So I don't know, I lost 5 FPS. But also too that the difference of 5 FPS between 1080p and 1440p, bro, what do you think?
It's acceptable losses for that.
Yeah, I mean, that's really damn close. I mean, that's really damn close. I mean, I don't know what you guys think. You leave your comments out there in the live chat. Let me know what you think. But looking at between 145 at 1440p. See, this is at 1440p. And going to going to 1080p from 1440p. Don't you think I should have gained FPS?
From 1080p to 1440p?
No, going from 1440p to 1080p.
Was there upscaling differences?
No, everything's the same.
Even your settings?
All in my settings are all the same. Exactly the same. Don't you think I would have gained FPS?
I don't know. You would think it would go into 1080p. You should.
Yeah, you would think you would gain performance because you're using more of the CPU and you're not as GPU bound. And the 9700X, I know how that runs. But you know what we didn't try? The next step. Oh, let me go ahead and pause that. Since we already got that baseline that I tested at 1440p at 145, and we got a baseline right there. Now we know. So the next step would be since they said I'm going to push the memory clocks to 800, apply. I'm going to push the core clocks to 200, apply. And I'm going to bring up the power slider to 50 and apply it. And I'm going to push the power limit up to 108. You guys see it right here. I just now overclocked the CPU or the GPU. You know what I mean? So if I'm right, if I'm correct, let me catch the video up. if I'm correct, then Nvidia said that there would be a cap.
Possible on some GPUs.
Okay, well, we know what the score is, 140.90, right?
Yeah.
So make sure y'all take a snapshot of that and let me know if I fall or gain. So we'll go back to the settings. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed here. Now let's see what the overclock does. Two things could happen. One, it could crash, or two, it can go forth and go up. And I'm watching right here on my my taskbar. I can see what's going on with oh hell, you guys can see too. The 0.01% lows never come out right on MSI Afterburner. I'm focused on the 1%, and I'm focused on the real time, the D3, D12. That's what I'm focused on. Certain part, it does drop. The FPS does drop. Okay, let's get this out of the way. Okay, did we lose FPS?
I'll have to go back and look. We'll wait till you get done.
Well, it's done. Well, you'll see it in a minute.
Not for me.
You'll see it in a minute.
140.14.
Yeah, it's 140.14. Did we lose FPS?
No.
Hey, Psycho, good to see you. What kind of issues are you having? And it's going pretty good, but I'm kind of having doubts about this new driver update. I'm having big doubts about it. Because I lost FPS. Something ain't right. Okay, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. Since you guys won't be able to see this, but I will. I'll work on it in the future kind of thing to split the screen, figure out how to do that. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to shove it right in front of my eyeballs. So that way I can rerun this test again. $140.14. We're going to run the test again. Oh, there's a big drop there. I'm running 3 gigahertz from what this is saying at 69%.
At 1080p on medium settings?
Yeah. No, on high settings. No, high settings.
Yeah, you're not using a lot of GPU at medium settings at 1080p.
Yeah, but I'm running 3 gigahertz.
Okay.
I'm looking to see if there's a power drop. That's what I was looking to see. We're at 1.10 millivolts. So we're at 1.1 volts. It's not dropping. Okay, so there's no power drop. That's what I was looking for. 139.77 now. Am I going nuts? I went from 140.17 to 139.77. Am I losing my mind? It seems like it's decreasing every run. You know, keep 139.77. Let's do another run. I know I'm losing my mind. Let's turn on the screen recorder this time.
Try different settings too. Higher settings will make the GPU work harder.
Right. Well, I was keeping it at this setting because I wanted to see if there's a drop. And it seems there is. In FPS, at the third test, the first test I done was fine. Second test I done, it dropped FPS. Third test I done, it dropped even more FPS. I want to figure out why it's dropping FPS. When I got it overclocked, it should not be dropping FPS.
We got to utilize the GPU all the way. My opinion.
Well, I'm utilizing it on 1080p. Yeah, I know. I got to put it on quality mode, and we'll do that next. Psycho, this update messed you up? Why do you think that? Question mark. A lot of micro stuttering? Yeah, it kind of shows that, but I can't see that. Remember, we're at 1080p, so it's going to show a lot of stuttering. 139.19. It just dropped again. Bro, it's not supposed to drop. It's not, truthfully, it's not supposed to drop.
Try higher settings.
Yeah, but the whole purpose of this test is to find out if there's any drops. And it looks like there is. I should have continuous FPS at 1080p. Not dropping. It shouldn't be dropping like this. Shouldn't be dropping like 20 FPS every time I do a run. You see what I'm saying? It shouldn't be doing that. No matter what your settings are at, your hardware should never drop like that. But we're going to try it your way this time. We are going to go to quality settings on high at 1080p. How about that?
Okay. I wouldn't even turn ultra performance. You're going to see a CPU. It's all CPU. Change it to regular.
What do you mean?
The lower down you go, the more CPU you're going to use on your super resolution.
No, I went to quality.
Okay, but so you're running 720p on high settings. See if you're using 100% of the GPU or not. You might be.
Yeah, we'll try it. See what happens. It's an interesting test. It really is. But I'm checking the drivers. Okay, so now I'm up to 91, 89, 91, somewhere in there. But the amount of CPU usage is still the same. So basically, I would have to take this off of 1080p and go to 1440p. But that shouldn't be running this high, because the air coming out of my PC is not hot. But I did gain 7 degrees Celsius, so it did go up. So basically, I would have to put this on ultra.
Yeah, or set it to no upscaling would help too.
Well, the purpose of upscaling is if, say I got 138 on the FPS. That's weird. I'm trying to figure out what's so weird about this. Okay. Let me turn just texture quality. Well, texture quality on high is the max. Let me turn ambient occlusion down. Let me turn color position. No. Okay. 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 So there's a couple settings that I pushed to ultra. That on quality right now, so we'll run it as is. You remember, running an overlay, you will lose FPS. So I don't know, bro. I'm not seeing anything really freaky, you know? Yeah, I mean, even those little arrows ain't screwing up. So it's kind of hard to say. Reflections look good, and I don't even got ray tracing on. So I don't know what you guys think, but I could tell you, either way I look at it, I don't think the drivers are an issue. I think it's just the way I'm perceiving it. Yeah, even me putting it up on ultra I'm still over 125. So I guess the only way to really test this would be at 1440p. I would have to change everything up. Let me see if I got 1440p on this monitor. Nope. I would have to change it to the other monitor. Oh. So. I think the best thing to do is exit to the main menu and exit out of the game, switch the monitors. I think that's the only way I'm going to really know. You know, bro, that's the only way I'm really going to know. Oh, my goodness. So much drama going through just to make a test. So much drama. Ooh. I didn't shrink that down. Forgot 1080p is really big. Oh, way too big. Okay. Okay, hello there, Player Rush. Good to see you. 595.79 brought me a disaster. You get that machine? We got one, two guys here that are having disasters. Well, explain your disasters, man. Let us know what's happening. What were you seeing, and what was what was happening on your system that was a disaster? Give us a little detail. We can talk about it. We can, see what's going on. But I think it has something that, and I know everybody's going to say I'm wrong about this, but I know I'm right. I still think Windows has something to do with this. I'm not dismissing Nvidia. I'm not dismissing Windows neither. So I had stable 7090 FPS in Roblox, polished card driving 2.0 on high settings with RTX 3070. Now I see sudden drops. Uh-oh. Like drops to 2030 FPS. Wow. Before 595.79, there wasn't any drops in the urban city area. So is that was it 595.71 that you were running? Which one? What was your last driver that you were running? Because I know in 7.1 I wasn't having any problems neither. So let me know what drivers you were using last. Because I can tell you that I'm starting to see drops in this one. Oh, 7.1, yeah. I was on 7.1. I didn't have any problem with it. It's just that's what I'm testing right now to see where the drops are. So what we're going to do is we're going to try this again. I'm going to try to set up Cyberpunk on my 4K monitor because I want to see closely what's happening. And I got my GPU overclocked. Okay. Not hardcore overclocked, but it's already an OC model, so I clocked it up a little bit more. So to give it like a 12 to 13% boost. But I don't see it dropping on the voltage. That's the thing. This is weird, machine. I mean, at idle, it drops down. You know, but here, let me set this to the 4K monitor. Just a video. Let me go to number 1. Okay, so is this set on 4K? Okay. So what I'm doing right now, guys, is I'm making sure, well, hell, I'll just take you guys there. You guys can see for yourself. Not there. Right here. So, also too, I have to set this up for 4K. Oh. So now I gotta resize my screen. Set it for 1440. Okay. Let's see if we can get this close. Okay. Sucks when you gotta resize OBS, you know. There, now we're back to our normal. I got it set at 1440p. And you guys can see right here, I got it overclocked. I mean, I got the core voltage up 50 plus, 50 millivolts more. So I'm going to have to move it to this screen now. Because you guys will be able to see it on the overlay. Okay. So now, let's go back to Cyberpunky. Okay. Now we're back here on Cyberpunk. Full screen. 2560, 1440. There. Now we're at 1440 machine, like I was before. Let's go back to the graphics. Let's apply that. That's at high. Go back down. The reason why I'm doing this is because I know my score from the last time. Maybe I'm running on the wrong preset. Maybe I should run it on auto. And let the machine decide.
I might put the auto. Try it on auto, maybe.
I might have to.
I stopped having issues with VRAM after I set it to auto.
Right. Well, I'm going to give this one last run, and then I'm going to try it on auto. So, hopefully you guys aren't getting bored about this, but I'm really testing this driver out. I know it's Cyberpunk, but Cyberpunk is a very demanding game. Very demanding. I'm just making sure it's stable. That's what I'm looking for, stability in the driver. If there was no stability in the driver, it would crash. Okay, so voltage is right where it needs to be. I'm hitting close to 3 gigahertz on the GPU. But something ain't making sense, man. This is 1440p back on ultra performance like I had it before. I should be nailing 100% on the GPU. That's the problem. There it is. That's what I was looking for. Because when I ran this test the last time, if you look on the video for preset K, I was nailing 100%, 99 to 100%. But it did go up from one was it? Was it 147 to 151? Does that make sense? So you telling me that 1440p is going to run higher, which it should be pulling more on the GPU, right? Huh. Maybe you're right. Maybe I need to exit out of this. And I need to go into Nvidia. And I need to set it to auto. There could be, I'm thinking, there could be a bug in the presets. Maybe. It's just a thought I'm having right now. Y'all don't lose your shit so soon. I know y'all are getting ready to lose your mind. So don't lose your mind so soon. Okay, so what do I do? Set it to recommended for the super resolution? Machine. Machine. Uh-oh. Let's see. Or should I set it to default? What do you guys think? What should I set it to? Should I set it to recommended or set it to machine? Which settings are you using, man? We'll just try recommended. Okay. So we will try recommended. And we will hit the play button. Just waiting for it to load. Okay. So we'll try it at recommended settings. Yes, sirree. Let's see. Okay. Go back to the settings. Okay, we'll leave it on the same. Well, We'll run the test again on ultra performance and see what happens. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe we'll find out. We'll see how it recommends this. Maybe I'm missing something. You know, I'll be damned. I'm getting more FPS. Not as much latency. Wow. Very minimal latency now. But I'm still running the same on the CPU. But the GPU usage is back up over close to 90. You okay, man? I think he can't hear us, but we'll find out. So, $165. I'll be damned. So, okay. So now we tried that at that. Now we're gonna go to quality on high and run the test again. We're trying everything we can here. I'm going to put a hurt on this GPU. I know it. Okay. So the percentage dropped by at least 8%, 9%. Now I'm hitting the GPU at 99, 98%. Took the load away from some of the load away from the CPU. Temperature is still remaining around the same. I mean, you guys tell me what you think it looks like. I mean, I can tell you, looking at it right now, it looks clean. And it brought it up a lot. Even at 120 FPS, I'm still happy with that. Oh, yeah. So, I don't know. I'm just getting... Here, let me flicker off here really quick. Let me move this over so we can see what you do see. Okay, I'm just getting stuttering issues I never had before. I really don't know much on PCs, but when I got this driver, it started, depending on the game, it happens more, but I don't know. I don't think it's happening on the game. I think what it is there's a... You get basically, it comes down to your drivers. You got to balance it. And that's what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to get a balance. But it seems that I put this on recommended settings. I'm not seeing, I just see just very bits of micro stutters, but not much. So it could be that maybe they still got a little bit of glitch in you independently doing the presets, but maybe you want to try it at recommended. Probably that would probably be the best, because when I put it to recommended, it made it clean. It cleared it up a lot. So basically, it does its own preset settings. So it brings it right to that preset. Whatever you set your settings on in the game. Might clear it up, might not. Just an idea. It might work. So setting it on recommended might be the best thing right now. Or you're going to end up having to roll the drivers back to 7.1. What is it, 59171 or 59571, something like that. You might have to roll it back to that one. Yeah, it's 595.71. If you were getting good performance on that driver, I would go back to that driver. I mean, you can reinstall the driver and do a cleanup, a fresh reinstall if you go to custom in Nvidia's drivers and just hit custom and put a fresh factory installer or something like that. It's got one little box you got to click to do to restore the drivers. You can do it that way, or if you know DDU, then I don't recommend DDU myself. So I used it once and it crashed my PC, and I'll never use it again. So, but on this other hand, let's see. So we got it at quality. So now let's try, because this is 40 series. It's a 4070. Let's try it at the original and see if we have any problems. See, I'm trying to see if there's a problem. If I don't find a problem, then I can't resolve any issues. So, but that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to see if I can find a problem. The CNN model seems to be running about the same. But there's one last test I'm going to do before we go back to the main screen. Because I'm going to turn off the power adjustment, and I'm going to see if the amount of watts comes back up to over 200 watts. And I notice it hasn't been getting, it's like 10 watts away from 200. Usually it hits around 200, 203. The max it hits around 208 watts. So we got 119. About a 1 FPS difference between the two. Okay, so now let's exit the main menu and get back on the desktop, because I'm going to readjust the wattage and put it back to stock wattage. Just want to see what's cooking, that's all. So, now we're going to take the core, put it right back at 0. Put the power limit back at 100. Fan speed is fine. We're going to leave the overclock in. So now what I'm trying to find out is if we're going to have any issues. Let's go ahead and restart Cyberpunk again. This will be the last run, guys. And then we'll have a powwow. We'll talk about it in the end. So this will be the last run. Uh-oh. Why did I flatline? That's odd. Well, I guess it doesn't like the overclock now. Because I turned let's turn that off and see if that's going to bring it back to 0. Okay, so that's weird. Okay. Yep, that's why it crashed. Let's see if it crashes again. Cyberpunk is really finicky. Hey, Dr. Blitz, good to see you. Good to see you, man. Well, I'm trying to see what the hubbub is about the new driver 595. Was it 595.79, man? What I'm trying to find out is if there's a problem with the driver or not. Nothing's changed, and I'm going to run this the same way. So I'm going to run this the same way. Let's see what we can see. I'm trying to see if there's any issues with the drivers. Oh, there is a big drop. There's a big 1% drop. But it's still above 60. It's still not that bad. I don't know. It's kind of looking solid. Do you have 1X9070 XT by any chance? No, I don't. I'm sorry there, Coco. I don't. I don't. They want to know if I had a 9070 XT. I didn't.
What? Are you having issues with it?
Well, I don't know. They retracted their statement, so Let's see. I don't
Sorry,
know.
I should.
I don't know. Okay, I'm running this on recommended settings. Right.
Okay.
I am running this because this is got. I'm still over 100 FPS. The minimal is still 99. There's,
Okay.
I mean, the gap is shorter. I mean, if you think about it, let's just say 100 between 100 and 116. There's only a 6 FPS difference. Little less than 6 FPS, you know. But
Technically running it in 1080p, a little bit less than that.
well, this is 1440p.
Right, but if you run it on the quality upscale.
Yeah, but I'm running this on the CNN model because I got the 4070. I'm running it on the actual CNN model.
Okay.
So I ran that test. Now I'll apply the transformer model. I'm still on quality. I still get everything on high. You know, I still got everything on high. So now I'm on the transformer model. I'm going to make that run. I know I told you guys that was my last run, but I got to try the transformer model at least. Just for giggles, you know, to see if there's any difference. I lost wattage. I should have been over 203. 200 to 203. I lost wattage. But it's only running six gigabytes of VRAM, almost 7 gigabytes of VRAM. But it's at 98, 99%. Temperature on the CPU and GPU are about the same. My CPU is hitting about almost max clocks. So what am I missing? The percentage on the CPU is higher? The fuck? There's no drop this time. You know how I was noticing every time I was doing a run in, it was dropping? This time there's no drop. So when you do individual presets, let's go back to the main screen. Let me get out of this and go back to the main screen. So I noticed that if you do individual presets and you run it over and over again, there's a FPS drops. So it could be right there. That could be the problem. How you doing over there, machine?
Doing good.
Okay, well, I was hollering at you, but I guess you were engulfed in your game hardcore, right?
I'm not in my game hardcore.
Okay.
No, I'm paying attention to everything.
Okay. Well. Okay, so let's go back to the main screen. Now we're on the main screen. Let me readjust everything. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. Why the hell did that? What the hell? Okay. Windows is acting like a boob. So. Okay, now I'm going to stretch everything out. Let me see. Okay, guys, this is the deal. What I think is happening, and yes, I don't have a 9070 XT. I'm not blessed with that kind of kind of money because I'm on a limited budget. I know I'm not like any of the other reviewers that's got money coming out their ying hole, but I don't. So yeah, when I get a little bit of change in my pocket, I'll try to get me a 9070 XT to test. But until then, I have to wait for it. Maybe if I get a little bit luckier, maybe I'll get a 5090. I don't think I'm going to get that lucky. Not unless I want to set the house on fire. That's the reason why I got the 4070. It won't set the house on fire. So there's a big difference. When you run that high volt connector, when you go over 375 watts, that connector falls apart. So the limit, I look at it, it's 375. I don't care what anybody else tells me. That's the limit that the engineers at Gigabyte said. 375 watts is the limit. I wouldn't buy a 5090 because it goes over 600 watts. So, but that's my statement. And as far as the 9070, I would rather have it with the 8-pin connectors than have one with the 12 volt high power, which I heard that somebody done caught fire already. So that's not good. Make sure y'all got your drink and snacks. I forgot to say that in the beginning, probably. What do you think, Machine? Should that be my next goal, is to get a 9070 XT?
I mean, it could be a 9060. It doesn't have to be a 9070 actually.
Yeah, well, maybe if the price comes down, again, maybe if it goes down to maybe 529, maybe it'd be some
9070 XT.
Yeah, 9070 XT.
I doubt it'll be that low.
Yeah, well, you
might
never
be lucky to get it at MSRP.
Well, you never know, man. I mean, you could get lucky, and it could happen. See, I'm putting my brain in not looking at the now kind of scene, because we all know that the VRAM and the system RAM has gone bonkers. I'm kind of putting myself in a different light. I'm looking towards maybe when I'm halfway in the grave. Why would the Nvidia app say I crashed? The fuck? That seems to be working. Why did it say I crashed? Nvidia software has encountered an issue. What did it encounter? See, that's the thing. I don't know what it encountered, so I don't know what kind of issue it's having.
The app just told you it crashed?
Yeah.
Because it crashed?
Said it crashed 7 times.
7?
Yeah. But it's running. We'll see what happens again. I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at it right now. We'll see if it crashes again, because that's kind of odd. GPUs. Hey there, MTBK. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. GPU's running at idle. RAM usage is at 11 gigs. Not worried, I got 32. CPU temperatures, kind of a little bit high, but also, too, it's 82 degrees in here. So, yeah, it's going to be a little warm. So I figured that. Now, when I got it at least 76 in here, I know the temperature is going to be down to 44C, 43C, maybe sometimes around 40C. So that's not the problem. Yeah, that's not a problem. I keep the temperatures on my taskbar. I see everything. I don't need to keep the MSI Afterburner overlay going because I put the temperatures on my taskbar so I can see everything. I monitor after that little episode that I had the last time with the drivers. I'm not going to take anything for granted at this point. Nothing. You know that machine? I'm not taking nothing for granted, man. So what do you guys think about the Steam machine? I mean, I know we talked about it earlier, machine, but I don't think everybody else talked about it.
Yeah, I had high hopes for it, but I don't.
You don't have high hopes for it?
Nope. I was being one of the only optimistic people, but now I don't. It's just going to be a non-portable version of the Steam Deck.
Right. See, this is the problem. Manufacturers, game manufacturers, use no common sense. Me being a builder, okay, for many decades, I was about to say for many centuries, but it feels like many centuries. But for many decades, I've seen AMD grow up. I've seen Intel grow up. I've seen Nvidia grow up. I've seen Asus, Gigabyte, all of them grow up from day one. You know what changes? The amount of money they got in their pocket. When they don't get enough, that's what changes, and they want more money. So the hardware gets shittier and shittier each time. Why do they have to make the hardware so bad when they can make it so good for cheaper? That's what I don't understand about the Steam machine, man. They could have threw in an 8700F and ran it all the way up to what? 9,000 MT on a single stick and ran what? 32 gigs on a single stick? And they could have got better performance. But they didn't do that. Well, I know you guys are going to say, well, that's just an example. But they wanted to use something that's not worth using. The CPU that they got is worse than a 5500. The GPU core that they're going to be using is less than a 7600. So basically, you're looking at a box. You're just paying for the box. And what's inside the box is one motherboard with the power built onto it and the CPU built onto it. It's a laptop. It's a laptop in a box. That's what I think. Hello there, Xavier. Good to see you. So is it working? Should I update on 5080? Machine, He wants to know, should he update on a 5080? You're running the 5070 Ti. Are you having any problems?
5080. There's nothing wrong with that GPU.
Yeah, no, the drivers. He wants to know if
issues at all. Zero.
You're not having no problems.
No, none.
There you have it. Machine's on a 5070 Ti. So you have a 5080. You shouldn't have any problems. He says he's not having problems. I'm going by what he says. On my 4070, I'm not having any problems. So I could just tell you, the only problem I see maybe would be in the presets. I would set it on recommended and just roll with it. Instead of doing individual presets, I would just set it on recommended and lock it in and see what you get. But I haven't, once I did that, I didn't see anything wrong with that, especially at 1440p. So, but that's up to you. Now I'm going to do a little disclaimer. What I do on my stuff, that's one thing. What you guys do on your stuff, that's your biz. So if you feel that it's good enough for you, then that's up to you. I can't make that determination because I don't have a 5080. I don't have a 5070 Ti. I got a 4070. So I can only tell you what I see on the 4070. Machine can tell you what he sees on the 5070 Ti. And he tells me there's no problem. There's no problem. But he's running a B850 motherboard too, and a 9700X. So if you're running something about equal to that, you shouldn't have a problem. Am I wrong, Machine?
No, everything should work.
Yeah, it should work. So that's my answer. Machine's got his own answer. He tells you what he feels on his. So that's up to you if you want to try it or not. Just watch out because there's a Windows update that just happened earlier today. I do my Windows update first before I do my Nvidia updates. I do Windows update first, and then after it's all said and done, I shut my PC down, let it sit for 15 seconds. So this way everything, just lambastes together and it just starts combining the way it needs to. And then after that, I turn it on, and then I go and do my Nvidia updates. It seems to be a good thing to keep in mind when this happens. I check Microsoft updates to see if there's an update. And if I ain't got no updates and I got Nvidia update, I just do the Nvidia update. But if I got a Microsoft update and an Nvidia update, I do the Microsoft first, then I do the Nvidia update. Does that make sense, Machine? What do you think, Machine? Is that a good idea?
I think people are having issues. Maybe because of how it's set up, and also when you do updates, you go back to stock on some of this stuff.
Yeah,
Everything every time, and some people probably don't know that.
No, that's why I did it on the video.
Yes, yeah.
That's why I did it on the video, to show everybody it went back to stock, and I had to go redo my settings again. So everybody's seeing live that I had to go back and redo the settings. Yes. Because Nvidia driver update for some reason pushes you back to stock, so you don't keep your updates, your settings. So that is a good point to make, man. That is a great point to make. People are wondering if they're not getting their FPS or anything else. Could be in your settings, But what really surprised me, though, was I was getting a notice saying the Nvidia app was crashing, but it's still running. That was weird. I don't know. For some reason, I was getting something weird. Look, I report what I see. And if I see something weird on my PC, I tell you guys it's weird. And that was weird. Because it was saying it crashed 8 times. Or it could be that it was crashing on Cyberpunk, and that could be why Cyberpunk crashed that last time. Or the overclock could have been crashing the app. You think? That could be a possibility.
Yeah, it could be because Cyberpunk's very sensitive to the overclock.
Yeah.
Very sensitive.
So when I turned down the voltage for the overclock, and I still left the overclock on there, what happened is Cyberpunk crashed until I turned everything back to stock settings. I did notice that. And then it came back to life. So that tells me that the power sliding up the power was working. You know? So the power slider was working. Because it was maintaining the GPU and Cyberpunk wasn't crashing. So, but obviously the Nvidia app was crashing. That's a problem, man. But you're not having that kind of problem, right?
I'm not. I'm playing games all day.
Okay.
I never had a crash, and I had my GPU overclock.
Right.
No crash.
I would see it on the 40 series compared to the 50 series, maybe. There's some things you can see on the 40 series that you won't see on the 50 series. Remember, we're still sharing software between the 40 and 50 series. So with me having last generation GPU, I would see more of a crash than anything. But it hasn't, I mean, it stopped crashing. So obviously the driver update seemed to me it was working fine until I seen that obstacle course. But I don't see it dropping now. What do you think?
It's kind of weird because maybe it's just happening on like the 4000 series. I don't know.
No, maybe I forgot to do one thing.
What?
Check the output of the video encoders. And you know what? I fuggled up because we've been running the stream all this time on the CPU.
Okay. You're doing good.
Yeah, I mean, that's real good. I mean, we've been running the stream on the CPU. Now I switched it over to the GPU. Because I was noticing the frames drop. I was like, why are the frames dropping? Now we're on AV1 encoding. Stream seems to be looking pretty excellent, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I could tell you this. That could have been one reason why. Because I was running the stream on the CPU instead of the GPU. it's a mixed bag now, man. I can't make a determination. I mean, I think with the amount of stress, that could explain why the CPU was so high, you know, on usage, was because I was streaming and, you know, running 1080p at the same time. Hey, Dakota, good to see you, man. Good to see you. So that explains the 1080p staboggle. Wow. So I don't know. I can't make my mind up, man. I can tell you this. If that's the case and I was running the stream on the CPU, right? No, and I just switched it over to AV1. So if I'm running the stream on the CPU while I was testing on the CPU, or the 1080p, which is CPU and mostly CPU intensive, so that would explain why the percentage was so high. Now, if I was testing, on AV1 encoding and I was testing the GPU, the CPU would be at less amount of usage. That means I would be more GPU bound than CPU bound. So that would explain the testing results. But overall, this is overall, it still handled, the driver still handled what I threw at it. So no matter what I threw at it, did it really crash? Other than, because I overclocked, that has nothing to do with the driver the driver update. That's case sensitive for Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk is really sensitive. So when I turned down the power and put it at level, yeah, it crashed it because it wouldn't accept the overclock. But once I turned the overclock down to put it all on stock clock, it was fine. It booted right back up. So it's not the software. So is the newest driver, Nvidia driver, safe? I accidentally updated it, clicking and pop up. Hey, I can tell you this, Dakota and Sayabondel, I think it's all right. I think it's fine. I'm my analysis, looking at it right now, I can't find a problem with it. Machine can't find a problem. He's been gaming on it all day, and he's on the 5070 Ti. I'm on the 4070, and I just started testing it, even though it came out yesterday. And today, I tested it, did many runs. I did different variation of test. Even when I was streaming on the CPU, it was still putting a major load in between that game. So if it was going to crash, it would have done it. It would have crashed the whole PC. Remember, I'm live streaming as well as gaming. So as much load as I put on this, it didn't crash it. So driver software is handling just fine. Wouldn't you agree to that, Machine? Or no? He's gaming. He's busy. So, but I mean, the only way you're going to know is if you try it, you test it, do it in your own way, and if it tests out correct for you, then it'll be fine. But if it doesn't, then all you got to do is uninstall it, reinstall your last good known driver, and be done. If you want to know the answer to the equation, you have to update it and see what it looks like for you. I can't tell you yes or no, But I can tell you on my end, I don't see the need for me to go back to 595.71. That's the last one I was on. So now I'm on 9.7, or what is that, 9.7 or whatever the hell it is. See, I keep forgetting, guys. I get it's an old thing. It's 595.79. So I can tell you like this: try it if you like it or not. But the only way you're going to know is if you test it yourself and see what happens next. I suggest, if you're going to upgrade, have a single monitor plugged in, not double monitors, just one monitor. This way you can keep everything loaded to one screen. So that way you can get it properly set in. This is where a lot of people do make mistakes, is that, well, I do the same thing too. I got two screens right now, but I updated with two screens. So, but to save your sanity, I would just use one screen, have it load on one screen. You get it all set and ready. And then after that, shut down your system, let it sit, plug in your new screen, your second screen, and then reload it back in and then let it load correctly. Some people just have a habit of leaving the machine on and just plugging it in. That's the worst mistake you can make. You could blow out your graphics card doing that. Just to let you guys know that you can end up blowing out the, diodes or capacitors or whatever's in your graphics card by just inserting a second monitor. Because now you're asking the feed to go from going one way to split. And your graphics card don't like it that well. So you best to shut your computer down. Not unplugging it, just shutting it down. Let it sit for 15 seconds. Plug in your new monitor or your second known monitor, and then boot it back up and let Windows configure it. That's the best way to do it. But from what I've seen, I loaded it with two monitors. It loaded fine. I shut down my PC, let it sit for 15 seconds. And then after that, I turned it back on, let it finish loading up. It seems to be fine. I don't see a problem with the driver. I think what it is everybody has that is getting that conception of what they're doing to make the driver crash. Okay. I've noticed that when some people, now I'm not saying you guys, but there are people out there in the world that do it deliberately. Not saying you guys. You guys probably are not you're watching this video, this live stream, and you're thinking to yourself, no, I don't do that. It's just, it happens. I understand that. I feel you on that. I've had that problem too. Long time ago, I had that same problem. Mix matching RAM, that was one problem. That's why the GPU would crash. Two, mix matching it with the wrong motherboard, not looking at the QVL list. That's the second problem. Third problem is you go into the BIOS and push it to where, it just can't handle it. Your system RAM causes another drop issue. But if you do it correctly and have everything set up correctly, it should not happen. No. I mean, even my AM4 motherboard is set correctly, and it still gives me no issues, especially with all the updates from Nvidia. Doesn't matter. It doesn't crash neither. So if I got two computers, that doesn't crash with the same graphics card. that means they're matched. That means they're running. That means I have everything set correctly. Wouldn't you agree, machine? So if you take a step back, okay, breathe for a moment, and then go back to the beginning, and then go through your BIOS, set it up correctly, and then make sure everything is just right. And here's the second problem, or no, here's the fourth problem. No, here's the fifth problem. We'll just say problem number 5 is when you got a CPU with an APU built onto it. That's another problem. I disabled the APU that's on this 9700X. So I'm just running the discrete graphics card. So if you got an APU on, that could be one of the problems too. I disabled mine because AMD doesn't do like Intel does. With Intel, you can leave it on because when you're doing content creator work, it gives you a little bit of a boost. But AMD, on the other hand, no, it kind of steals away from your discrete graphics card. To me, I feel it steals away from it. So basically, your game focus is on the APU and not the discrete graphics card. So I disabled mine. Machine did the same thing with his. I think he did, but I think he did. But
Did what?
Disabled the APU on your 9700X.
Yeah, I disabled it. Yes.
Yeah. So that could be another problem too that people don't realize. Because now what you got, you're using AMD drivers and now you're using Nvidia drivers both at the same time. Right? What do you need AMD drivers for? They're already built onto the chipset. You don't need the APU on AMD. You really don't. You just need the CPU on AMD and the chipset drivers. And that way now your Nvidia drivers will work correctly. I did have the APU on for a little bit, man, and I saw a big FPS drop. True, you know. And I know the APU was stealing away from the discrete graphics card. It was like directing and using the APU more than the discrete graphics card. So once I disabled it, I haven't seen a problem since. So maybe it's just me. Maybe looking at it differently than everybody else. But if I'm not crashing, I know I said Nvidia earlier, you know, that was crashing. Now it's not doing it at all. I think that was a part of when I took off the power overclocking on MSI Afterburner. I think that's what the notices was as well. I didn't look. Next time I'll make sure I look at that. So if MSI Afterburner crashes, I'll look and see if Nvidia crashes with it. Most than likely, that'll probably what happened is Nvidia was crashing with MSI Afterburner or crashing with Cyberpunk. So that Cyberpunk would crash, that would crash. So I was thinking about that too. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, you never know. But I don't see it crashing now, and I don't see anything happening. Now I'm on AV1 encoding when it comes to the live stream. I didn't look. Obviously, when you do your driver updates, make sure if you're running OBS that you look and make sure that you're on AV1 encoding. Because if you don't, then you'll be running off of your CPU, and then you'll get, just like what happened with me, folly test. So I think it's all good, machine. I think there's nothing wrong with the drivers.
Yeah, I'm not having issues, so
Well, how's your performance?
Fine. No issues at all. I wouldn't be able to tell if I was running the new drivers or not.
That's the way I felt. Once I switched everything around. I think the only reason I felt it is because the stream was running off the CPU. You know. But if it was running off of the GPU and I was on an overclock, I don't know, man.
Could have been the overclocks.
Could have been.
Wouldn't know until you had tested it thoroughly enough.
Well, actually, no, I had the overclock on. I had the overclock on with pushing the power level up 50 millivolts. And the live stream was running on H.264. So it was definitely, the CPU definitely was being hammered. But it still was at it was between 60 and 70 C.
On your CPU?
Yes.
I'm running 78C right now.
Well, my AIO is definitely keeping up for sure, my brother. Then the one that was that the MSI one? Yeah. That one's a monster, man. Oh yeah, and also too, I wanted to bring that up. The Arctic, the thermal compound, the MX4, Arctic MX4. I want to try the MX7. Truthfully, I want to get the MX6 and I want to get the MX7 and I want to try them both. And I want to put my CPU under a heavy load and I want to see how much that the CPU is going to bring up the temperature. Out of all three of them, I want to see which one is the best out of all three. You know what I mean? Because they got the MX7 with the new improved formula. I want to try that. And I want to try between just the house brand, because this brand is not expensive in cost, when it comes to thermal paste, but it's well recommended because I've been using it for quite a few years, don't you think? I've been running MX4 for a long time. I mean a long time. They're not a sponsor of the channel. I really wish they were, because I definitely use MX4 and I definitely tell everybody about the MX4. But I really want to try the MX7 and the MX6. They say the MX6 is supposed to be heavier, as far as it handling heat. That's a good way to find out. I want to see if it's moist enough or it's just like, like Play-Doh. I really don't like when the thermal paste is like Play-Doh. I like it to where you can spread it like, a cake. That's how I like the thermal paste. Is because when you can spread it like a cake, it'll fill in all the gaps. But when it's as hard as Play-Doh, it don't really hit all the gaps. And the hot spots seem to get a lot hotter that I notice. So I'd rather have it to where it's like cake frosting. That's just my opinion. What do you think, Machine? Wouldn't you prefer that over Play-Doh?
Play-Doh.
Well, you think about it. Because if, well, you got to figure all the little indentations that's in on the ICS, you know, the top of your CPU, all the little divots and stuff, little cracks that you got to fill. You want something that's moist enough that's going to go into those cracks to fill for the heat to transfer, especially if you got like a little spot that you have your hotspot on, right? Because you got a few hotspots on your CPU. I'd rather have it to where it spreads in there and gets into all the crevices and puts a nice flat line over the top. And then when you put the the, the AIO cooler right on top of it, I want it to set just right. I want to feel the sponge, for it. When I set it down, I want to feel it to sponge a little bit. That it creates that suction between your GPU and the AIO cooler top. You know what I mean. You guys know what I mean. I want it to feel that there's a suction between the two that is bonded, that it bonds enough that you can feel it. But if you can't feel it, then it's just not working. And that means you're going to run your CPU even hotter, but you got to make sure it's got that bond. Not when it feels like, you're putting it on Play-Doh. I mean, you might as well get a thermal pad, and put a thermal pad right there. That's about the same thing you're doing when you're spreading Play-Doh style thermal paste. Especially if the people like wanting to use what do you call it? Liquid metal mixed in with their thermal paste. I know some people that started to do that, to take a little bit of liquid metal and mix it with their thermal paste to put it right there on their CPU. Don't do that. Do not mix your thermal paste with liquid metal. Because when that starts to melt and mold, it can melt right out of your CPU, right onto your motherboard, and create havoc. You want non-conductive thermal paste. That means when it falls onto your motherboard, it's non-conductive. So that way you don't short anything out. You take a little alcohol, you clean it up, you dry it off, and you're done for the day. But that liquid metal will rip your motherboard apart. Especially the top of your CPU and your AIO cooler. It'll rip that up too. Especially if it's copper. It'll leave little divots in there. And then you got really bad hotspot problems. So, my opinion, don't use liquid metal. It's not worth it. So, what do you think, Machine? Did we do our most diligence on this driver update?
Yeah.
Remember, guys, we ran the test right in front of you. We ran and we put the on-screen thing, MSI Afterburner on-screen thing right there in front of you. We ran multiple tests on these drivers, and I didn't see an issue. Only time I seen an issue is when I was reducing the power on the overclock. That happens. I can tell you that's not the drivers. That is the overclock. So when I put everything back to stock, Cyberpunk came back up and there was no problem. So, but even though that I had the live stream running off the CPU still handled, as well as the GPU, it still handled. Even at 1440p, it was still a good thing, man. I mean, I felt something was wrong And in the end, when I found out that I didn't have this on AV1 encoding, yeah, that's what I was feeling. So, but the drivers themselves are great. I don't have any problems with it. Hopefully, you guys don't have any problems with it. And Machine, I hope you don't have any problems with it neither.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, we did what? 6 or 8 runs on Cyberpunk. And I tried your way. I tried my way. You know, I did. I put it on quality. I even tried it. It ran good. So I didn't even have any problem with that. I took a little bit of an FPS hit, but guys, I'm still running over 60C, or not 60C. Yeah, I was running at around 60C for the temperature on both the CPU and GPU. But when it comes to the FPS, on my 1% lows, I'm still over 60 FPS. I was still well over 60 FPS. But to find out why I was having all those little micro spikes was because, yeah, when you're running a live stream, you're going to have that on your testing, especially if you're running it off of your CPU. So that is going to make a difference. But we can always try it next time when we do it next time, and we can try it while we're running AV1 encoding, and we can see from there. But that's next time. Because now it's getting time that we are coming to a close on this driver update, Stabagle. I don't think it's a problem. I think the problem is that people have to think about how they set up their system, and they have to take a step back, breathe, and make sure they got everything in line for it to run correctly. Machine doesn't have a problem. I don't have a problem. He's got a 50 series graphics card. I got a 40 series graphics card. Me and him collaborate on this. So he's running, and believe it or not, he's running the same motherboard I am. He's running the same RAM that I am. He's running everything the same, except for the power supply. I'm running 750 watt power supply. He's running 1,000. But pretty much our systems are equal to each other. But I'm running the 4070. He's running the 5070 Ti. So both of us are not having any issues. I don't know what to tell you guys. Unless you're having a problem on a 30 series graphics card, that would be the only thing I can think of. Usually it's going to be a problem on 30 series graphics cards anyways, because you don't have AV1 encoding. Well, maybe on the 3090s, but I can tell you on the 3060 you don't. Because I have the 3060 sitting next to me. So I've already tested it. I already know it doesn't have AV1 encoding. But the 7600 does, the RX 7600 does. So that's a good card. Don't get me wrong, 3060 is just as good. I'm just trying to put a bug in Nvidia's ear if they hear my channel, if they ever visit my channel, that maybe they can do something with the software. Maybe they can kind of, test AV1 encoding on their 30 series graphics cards, especially the 3060. That would be pretty nice to get something like that going. Look at AMD. They got an RX 7600. That's got AV1 encoding. That's got 8 gigabytes of VRAM. 8 gigabytes of VRAM. And the 3060's got 12 gigabytes of VRAM, but guess what? You can't run AV1 encoding. That, I figure, is a little bit of an issue. Another issue that I see I don't see it as an issue. That's because everybody don't like frame generation anyway. So even if you run rasterization off of 3060, it'll still gain. Even if they take and revive the 3060, which they're talking about doing, They're even talking about the 5050 with 9 gigabytes of VRAM. Me and Machine were talking about it. I still think that might be a little bit of a performance hit because you're only running 3 chips and you're running more power to the 3 chips than you were having 4. Running 4 chips, you have more of a disbursement in power, but running 3 chips, you're running more power to them and more heat. That could be a little bit of a performance hit and a little bit of a loss, especially with the bus being 96-bit instead of 128-bit. That's going to be another low performance hit. Everybody's saying, oh, you're going to get like 5% more performance. I really don't think you will. You might, but I still think it depends on the kind of system you're running. Now, if you're running a 9800X3D, you might be able to see that 5%. But if you're an everyday gamer and you plug it into your system and you don't see those kind of numbers, then the problem is because you're not running a high-end GPU or CPU for that GPU to really hit its max. So that's going to make a little bit of a performance difference. So don't be disappointed if you decide to get it and you're not seeing the performance that you would have seen from these big reviewers. Okay. Now, the mistake that some big reviewers make is they use an X3D chip, but they don't test it with, like we're testing it now on an X series chip. Okay. They tested only running it with one chip, and that's the biggest one that they can find that, what's that going to do? Your normal everyday consumer, the one that buys, stock level, the ones that buy entry level graphics cards, they're not going to be running a high end system. So you have to meet them halfway in the middle with this. And that's what my system does, is meets everybody halfway in the middle. Especially when they had that 55, that PC that they're charging $1,500 for, and it's got a Ryzen 5 5500 in it. $1,500. And only having 16 gigabytes of system RAM with the 6500 RX 6500. Oh my God, man. $1,500. Like I told you, Machine, my system is $5,000 now. It's now $5,000 because the total cost for my system is $1,300. You know that? Yours is a little bit more because you got a little bit more horsepower to yours. But mine is about $1,300. Now, and mine's more powerful than that one that I seen on Discord. So,
yes,
it's just ridiculous. That's basically like saying you give a motherboard to somebody in a box with a 650 watt power supply, 16 gigabytes of system RAM, and running it with the 5600G and saying it's $1,000. You got to be out your mind to pay $1,000 for that. You got to be out your mind to pay for a 5600G, which I do have here. I do have a 5600G, but I didn't pay $1,000 for it. So when you're shopping, do your diligence and don't look at one site and say it's okay. Look at multiple sites. Go for the best price possible. Get the lowest price possible. Set your mind on what kind of CPU you want, what that's going to give you the best performance possible, and find the lowest price on it. But make sure it's from a reputable site, one that will guarantee a warranty. If they can't guarantee a warranty, then I really wouldn't buy it. Even though Amazon is flipped up on its wig, I still have a warranty under, with all my parts. Still have a warranty. And I still have my factory warranty. So I haven't used that yet. Which, with mine, I still got about another year left on my Amazon warranty. And then after my Amazon warranty's done, then I'm going to kick it in for the factory warranty because I'm going to register it with the factory. I haven't registered mine with the factory yet, but you wait till you get one warranty done, then register it. They're going to bug you to death about registering it. I know that for sure. They bug me all the time. But I could tell you guys this, and hear me out. If you set your system up right, you're not going to have a problem. When you go listening to these tooth fairies that think they know what they're talking about, I've been doing this 3 decades. I know what I'm talking about. That's the reason why Mr. Machine doesn't have a problem with his. I don't have a problem with mine. And I'm trying to help you so you don't have a problem with yours. Start at the BIOS level. Make sure you set it correctly. Don't overclock your CPU. Undervolt your CPU. Let your GPU run at stock. That's the way I do mine. I don't have a problem with my FPS. I don't have a problem with the visuals. Nothing. Now, if you want to push your CPU and overheat it to the max, that's up to you. But the way they're building these games now, you're best off to just undervolt your CPU. And it's not hard to do it. It's only 3 things. 3 little things. And it's very simple. So, the drivers seem to be running fine, Mr. Machine says. There you go.
Yeah, I was just answering the question.
Oh, yes, sir. So, yeah, I don't seem to have a problem.
Yeah, I don't notice any difference between the previous driver and this driver.
I really don't either. The only thing I notice is when I made that screw up, running off of, the stream off of H.264 instead of AV1. But that's where I noticed the screw up. So, you're on Helldivers now, Mr. Machine?
Yeah, I was on it before.
Yeah, I know. I just seen a pop up.
Yep. I'm just getting on the loading screen.
I even forgot that I left Steam on.
I always have Steam on.
Yeah, I don't leave mine running. Because when I'm doing content creating...
Resources.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So now I had to set everything back to the way it was. Now it's back to the way it was. So, all right, guys. We rocked with you for 2 hours. Machine, you want to say your goodbyes there, my friend?
I appreciate y'all being here, being a part of the show.
And don't forget, next week, Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Mountain Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the channel. So if you didn't know that, now you know. Also, too, I haven't been doing many videos lately because I've been dealing with a lot of personals. And I know I'll be getting back to my normals real soon. So you guys are going to have to be patient with me because I'm kind of running in and out of town. Because they have me going to doctors that, do their little test or, to satisfy their status quo. So you guys have to understand I have to run back and forth out of town. So not much of a choice. Not much of a choice, but I have to do it. So, but we'll try to do our best in the meantime in between, and we'll try to do our videos in between. So, but anyway, we're going to go ahead and call it here for the evening. We appreciate you guys showing up this evening to rock with us for the last couple hours. And if you want to keep us going and keep us motivated, hit the subscribe button. That does keep me motivated. The more subscribers I get, the more motivated I get. And when I get more motivated, we start getting into more good things. So if you guys want to get in trouble with me, well, then keep me motivated and subscribe to the channel. But until the next time and the next video or live stream, you know who it is? Me and Mr. Machine. We'll see you on the next one.